Welcome back to another episode of Infidelity Tales Lab. We're thankful for your continued viewership. Before we begin, tell us, where in the world are you watching from? We love knowing our global reach. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. The Foundation. Cole Morrison stood at the edge of his property, watching the sun set behind the oak trees he'd planted 15 years ago when he first bought this land. At 42, he was a man who commanded respect without demanding it. 6'2", with graying temples that gave him a distinguished air, and hands that bore the calluses of both manual labor and military service. His construction empire, Morrison Developments, had grown from a single crew to the largest residential developer in 3 counties. Behind him, the house he'd built with his own hands sprawled across 5 acres. Every beam, every tile, every fixture had been chosen by him and Brooke. 20 years of marriage, 2 kids in college, and what he believed was an unbreakable bond. "Cole, dinner's ready," Brooke called from the kitchen window. At 38, she still turned heads with her auburn hair and green eyes, though Cole had noticed something different lately. A distance, a preoccupation that she blamed on stress from her real estate career. Their son Tyler was home from state for the weekend, while their daughter Emma was still at Northwestern. Cole had worked 60-hour weeks for 2 decades to give them everything he never had growing up in foster care. No family, no safety net, just his own determination and the skills the Army Rangers had drilled into him. "Dad, Mom said you're getting the surgery next week?" Tyler asked as they sat around the dinner table. The kid had Cole's build, but Brooke's softer features. "Minor procedure," Cole replied, cutting his steak. The doctors had found something during a routine physical, a small mass that needed immediate removal. "Nothing to worry about." Brooke's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and Cole caught something in her expression before she masked it. "Sorry, work call," she said, stepping away from the table. Cole had survived 3 tours in Afghanistan by reading people, by noticing the details others missed. His wife's body language had been screaming danger for months, but he'd ignored it, chalking it up to midlife stress. The successful businessman in him wanted to believe the best. The soldier in him was starting to prepare for war. Later that night, as Brooke slept beside him, Cole stared at the ceiling. He'd built everything for this family, the business, the house, the life. But somewhere in the darkness of their bedroom, a cold certainty was settling in his chest. Something was very, very wrong. Chapter 2. The Architect of Betrayal. Travis Kellner had perfected the art of being exactly what women needed him to be. At 35, he possessed the kind of polished charm that made clients trust him with million-dollar property deals and wives confide their deepest dissatisfactions. His family's real estate dynasty had given him connections, but his predatory instincts had given him power. He stood in the penthouse office of Kellner and Associates, looking out over the city skyline his family had helped shape for 3 generations. But it wasn't enough. It had never been enough. "The Morrison account is progressing nicely," his assistant mentioned, delivering the afternoon reports. Travis smiled. Brooke Morrison had walked into his office 8 months ago, ostensibly to discuss selling some of her husband's development properties. Within 3 meetings, Travis had mapped out her vulnerabilities like a military strategist. A woman who felt unappreciated, invisible beside her larger-than-life husband, hungry for the kind of attention Cole's busy schedule couldn't provide. Mrs. Morrison's quite motivated to close, Travis had told his business partner, Derek Walsh, over drinks. Derek, a financial advisor who'd grown up wealthy, but never quite wealthy enough, understood the game. Her husband's been so focused on building his empire, he's forgotten to tend his own backyard. The plan had crystallized over months. Travis wasn't just seducing a married woman. He was orchestrating the acquisition of Morrison Developments. Cole's company was privately held, worth an estimated $40 million, but the man was paranoid about outside investors. His wife, however, had been added to key business documents years ago, back when their marriage was stronger. "You know what Cole's problem is?" Travis had whispered to Brooke during one of their afternoon meetings. "He sees you as an accessory to his success, not a partner in it." Brooke had eaten it up, just as Travis knew she would. She'd begun sharing details about Cole's business operations, his plans for expansion, his vulnerabilities. More importantly, she'd signed papers, innocent-looking real estate documents that were actually shell company formations, trusts, and financial instruments that would, when activated, transfer significant assets. The surgery is next Tuesday. Brooke had texted that morning. Perfect timing. Travis leaned back in his leather chair. While Cole Morrison was under anesthesia, drugged, and helpless, the final transfers would complete. By the time the war hero woke up, he discovered that his wife and his company's future were no longer his to control. But Travis had underestimated something crucial about Cole Morrison. The man hadn't survived 3 tours in the world's most dangerous places by being naive. And he definitely hadn't built a $40 million business by being careless about who he trusted. Chapter 3. The Letter. Cole's surgery was scheduled for 7 a.m. at St. Michael's Hospital. As he was wheeled into pre-op, Brooke kissed his forehead with what seemed like genuine concern. "I'll be right here when you wake up," she promised. Dr. Patricia Reeves, the surgeon, was someone Cole had specifically requested, a veteran herself who understood the unique anatomy of soldiers who'd carried heavy gear for years. She'd found the mass quickly during the initial consultation and recommended immediate removal. "We'll have you back on your feet in a few days, Mr. Morrison," she assured him as the anesthesia took hold. Cole's last conscious thought was of Brooke's face and something in her eyes that his battle-trained instincts couldn't quite place. He woke to the steady beep of monitors and the sharp scent of disinfectant. His chest was bandaged, and pain medication made everything feel distant and cottony. The clock on the wall read 3:47 p.m. The surgery had taken longer than expected. "Mr. Morrison?" Dr. Reeves appeared beside his bed, but something was wrong with her expression. "How are you feeling?" "Like I've been carved up," Cole managed, his voice rough. "Where's my wife?" Dr. Reeves hesitated. "Left a few hours ago. Said she had an urgent business meeting." Cole's blood, despite the pain medication, began to run cold. "Business meeting? She did leave something for you, though." Dr. Reeves produced a white envelope from her coat pocket. "She asked me to give this to you only if she wasn't here when you woke up." I thought it was strange, but Cole's hands shook slightly as he took the envelope. His name was written across it in Brooke's handwriting, but something about the letters looked forced, deliberate. He tore it open and unfolded a single sheet of paper. "Cole, by the time you read this, you'll understand why I couldn't be there. Travis and I have been planning this for months. While you were building your empire, you forgot that empires can be conquered from within. The business documents I signed over the past 6 months weren't real estate contracts. They were transfer agreements. Morrison Developments is no longer yours. Neither am I. You were a good soldier and a decent husband, but you were never the partner I needed. Travis understands ambition in a way you never could. We'll be gone by the time you're released. Don't try to find us. You've lost this war before you even knew it was being fought." B. Cole read the letter 3 times before the full meaning hit him. Then he reached for his phone with trembling fingers and dialed 911. "I need to report theft, fraud, and conspiracy," he told the operator, his voice gaining strength with each word. "And I need Detective Ray Hoffman. Tell him Cole Morrison is calling in a favor." As he waited for the police, Cole's mind began working through the implications. His wife hadn't just cheated, she'd tried to destroy him. But Brooke had made a crucial error. She'd assumed that the quiet, methodical way he'd built his business meant he was soft. She'd forgotten that before he was a successful businessman, Cole Morrison had been a ranger. And rangers never left anyone behind, especially when they'd been betrayed. Chapter 4. The Hunter's Assessment. Detective Ray Hoffman arrived within an hour, his weathered face grim as he read Brooke's letter. He and Cole had served together in the same unit in Afghanistan, and Ray understood exactly what kind of man he was dealing with. "I've already started pulling financial records," Ray said, settling into the hospital chair. "But Cole, I need to tell you something. The amount of planning this took, the legal documents involved, this isn't just adultery. This is sophisticated financial fraud." Cole's expression remained calm, but Ray caught the predatory stillness that had made Cole legendary in their unit. "What's the damage?" "Preliminary review shows about $15 million in assets have been transferred to shell companies in the past 6 months. Your wife's signature is on everything, completely legal from a technical standpoint, since she was authorized on most of your business accounts. Travis Kellner, Cole said quietly. You know him. I know of him. Third-generation real estate family. Brooke mentioned him a few times, said he was helping with some property evaluations. Cole's jaw tightened. I ran background checks on every contractor, every employee, every business partner. But I never thought to check on my wife's clients. Ray leaned forward. Cole, there's something else. We found evidence that this relationship goes back at least 10 months. Credit card records show hotel stays, restaurants, trips to Chicago when your daughter was competing in debate tournaments. The pain medication couldn't numb the rage building in Cole's chest. Emma's debate tournaments. Brooke had insisted on going to every one, said it was important mother-daughter time. She'd been using their daughter's activities as cover for her affair. Where are they now? Flight records show they left for the Cayman Islands this morning. Kellner owns property there. Cole closed his eyes, thinking, Ray, I need you to do something for me. Officially, you're investigating financial crimes. Unofficially, I need every piece of information you can get on Travis Kellner. His business, his family, his weaknesses. Cole, 20 years, Ray. 20 years, I gave her everything. I built that company for her, for our kids. And she tried to take it all while I was unconscious on an operating table. Ray had seen that look before, in Kandahar, right before Cole had tracked down an insurgent cell that had killed 3 of their men. What are you planning? I'm planning to get my life back. And I'm planning to make sure they understand what happens when you betray a ranger. Don't do anything that'll land you in prison, brother. Cole's smile was thin and cold. I'm not going to break any laws, Ray. I'm going to do something much worse. I'm going to destroy them legally, systematically, and completely. Over the next 2 days, while Cole recovered in the hospital, Ray's investigation uncovered the scope of the betrayal. Travis Kellner wasn't just a successful real estate agent. He was a predator who'd done this before. 2 other wives of wealthy men had divorced their husbands after brief relationships with Travis, walking away with substantial settlements that somehow found their way into Kellner family investments. But more importantly, Ray discovered something else. Travis's business partner, Derek Walsh, had a gambling problem, a serious one, with connections to people who didn't accept late payments kindly. When Cole was released from the hospital, he went home to an empty house. Brooke had taken jewelry, clothes, and several pieces of expensive art. But she'd left behind something much more valuable, her laptop, which she'd apparently forgotten in her haste to escape. Cole smiled as he powered it up. His wife had always been careless with technology, and Cole Morrison was about to remind her that carelessness in war could be fatal. Chapter 5. The Web Begins. From his study, Cole could see the construction crews working on his latest development project through the window. Life was continuing, but everything had changed. He'd been discharged from the hospital 3 days ago, and the financial damage assessment was complete. Brooke and Travis had stolen $18 million from various Morrison development accounts. But they'd made mistakes. Cole's laptop showed a secure video call connecting. Derek Walsh appeared on screen, looking haggard and nervous in what appeared to be a hotel room. Mr. Morrison, I don't know why you wanted to meet, but I need to be clear that my business relationship with Travis is completely legitimate. Mr. Walsh. Cole interrupted, his voice calm and measured. I'm not calling about your business relationship with Travis. I'm calling about your debt to Vincent Torino. Derek's face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. $78,000. Owed for 6 weeks now. Vincent's been very patient, but from what I understand, his patience has limits. Cole leaned back in his chair. I also understand that Vincent's collection methods can be unpleasant. How do you? I know a lot of things, Derek. For instance, I know that Travis promised you'd be able to pay Vincent back once the Morrison development acquisition was complete. I know you've been skimming from client accounts to make partial payments. And I know that Vincent is planning to visit you personally if you don't settle your debt by Friday. Derek was sweating now. What do you want? I want Travis Kellner to understand that actions have consequences. And I want you to help me teach him that lesson. Cole had spent the previous day making calls, using connections from his military days and business relationships he'd built over 20 years. Vincent Torino was a legitimate businessman who happened to run a private lending operation with flexible terms and inflexible collection policies. Derek Walsh had borrowed money to cover gambling losses, using Travis as a reference. "I can make Vincent's problem go away," Cole continued. "But you're going to do something for me first. I'm not going to help you hurt Travis. I'm not going to hurt him, Derek. I'm going to educate him. There's a difference." Cole slid a document across his desk toward the laptop camera. "This is a partnership agreement between Walsh Financial Services and Morrison Consulting, a new company I'm forming. You'll be my inside connection to Travis's operation. Every financial transaction, every client meeting, every business decision, you'll report to me. That's corporate espionage. No, Derek, that's survival. Because if you don't help me, Vincent Torino will collect his debt one way or another. And if Travis discovers you've been stealing from clients to pay gambling debts, your career is over regardless." Derek stared at the screen for a long moment. "If I do this, the debt disappears." "The debt disappears, and you get a signing bonus of $50,000. "But Derek," Cole's voice dropped to a whisper, "if you betray me, if you warn Travis, if you try to play both sides, I'll make sure Vincent learns about every dollar you've stolen, and I'll make sure the state licensing board gets a very detailed report about your financial irregularities. You're blackmailing me. I'm offering you a choice. Work with me and rebuild your life. Work against me and lose everything." After Derek agreed and signed a partnership agreement electronically, Cole opened Brooke's laptop. His wife had been sloppy with her passwords, and he'd easily accessed her email accounts, social media, and financial apps. What he found there made his blood run cold. The affair had indeed been going on for 10 months, but the emails revealed something much worse. Brooke and Travis had been planning more than just theft. They'd been planning Cole's death. "The surgery is perfect timing," one email read. "Complications happen. Medical malpractice suits take years, and by then, we'll have everything transferred offshore." Another email from Travis. "Dr. Martinez owes me a favor from the casino. He can't guarantee anything will go wrong, but he can make sure certain medications are available if needed." Cole sat back in his chair, the full scope of their plan becoming clear. They hadn't just wanted his money, they'd wanted him dead. The only reason he was alive was because he'd specifically requested Dr. Reeves instead of using the surgeon Travis had recommended. His phone rang. It was Tyler, calling from college. "Dad, is everything okay?" Mom's not answering her phone, and Emma said she can't reach her either. Cole made a decision. His children deserve to know the truth, but they deserve to know it properly. "Son, I need you to come home this weekend. Bring Emma with you. There are some things we need to discuss as a family." "Is Mom okay? You're scaring me." "Your mother is fine, Tyler. But our family is going through some changes, and I want to explain everything in person." After hanging up, Cole walked to his safe and removed a small digital recorder. For the next 4 hours, he systematically documented everything. Brooke's letter, the financial theft, the emails about planned murder, Derek's cooperation agreement, and his own plans for what came next. Because Cole Morrison was about to wage a war that would destroy his enemies completely, and he wanted everything on record for his children to understand why it had been necessary. Chapter 6. The Children's Choice. Emma and Tyler arrived Friday evening, their young faces worried and confused. At 20 and 19 respectively, they were old enough to understand adult complexities, but still young enough to believe their family was unbreakable. Cole had prepared dinner, Tyler's favorite barbecue and Emma's preferred vegetable lasagna. He wanted this conversation to happen in a space that felt safe and familiar. "Dad, where's Mom?" Emma asked as they sat down. She had Brooke's green eyes, but Cole's direct gaze. "Tyler said she hasn't been answering calls. That's what we need to talk about," Cole said carefully. "Your mother and I are getting divorced." The silence that followed was deafening. Tyler set down his fork, and Emma's eyes immediately filled with tears. "What happened?" Tyler demanded. "You guys are fine. You've been together 20 years. Your mother has been having an affair," Cole said quietly, "for almost a year, with a man named Travis Kellner." Emma's hand flew to her mouth. "That's impossible. Mom wouldn't." "She would, and she did. But it's worse than just an affair. Cole took a breath. They've stolen $18 million from our family business. Money that was supposed to secure your futures, pay for college, give you the foundation to build your own lives. Tyler's face had gone from shock to anger. Are you serious? Cole nodded and pulled out printed copies of some of the emails, the ones about the financial theft, not the ones about planned murder. His children didn't need that trauma, not yet. They planned this for months. Every time your mother went to Emma's debate tournaments, she was meeting with this man. Every business dinner was actually time spent planning how to destroy our family. Emma was crying openly now. I don't understand. Why would she do this? I don't know, sweetheart. People sometimes make choices that don't make sense to the people who love them. Tyler stood up abruptly, pacing to the window. So what happens now? Are we broke? Do I have to drop out of school? No, Cole said firmly. You're not dropping out of anything. I'm going to get our money back, and I'm going to make sure you both have everything you need for your futures. Ow, Emma asked. If they stole $18 million. Let me worry about that. But I need to ask you both something important, and I need honest answers. Cole looked at each of his children. Your mother will probably try to contact you. She'll want to explain her side, maybe ask you to take her side against me. I won't stop you from talking to her. She's your mother, and that relationship is yours to decide. But I need to know, are you going to tell her what I'm planning? What are you planning? Tyler asked suspiciously. I'm planning to get our money back. I'm planning to make sure Travis Kellner faces consequences for what he's done. And I'm planning to make sure your mother understands that actions have consequences. You're talking about revenge, Emma said quietly. I'm talking about justice. There's a difference. Tyler returned to the table, his expression harder than Cole had ever seen it. What do you need from us? I need you to trust me. I need you to understand that everything I'm doing is to protect this family and secure your futures. And I need you to know that if you decide you can't support what I'm doing, I'll understand. Emma wiped her eyes. Mom really stole from us? From her own children? She did. Then she's not the person I thought she was, Emma said, her voice growing stronger. Do what you have to do, Dad. But be careful. Tyler nodded agreement. Just don't become someone we can't recognize, okay? Cole reached across the table and took their hands. I promise you that when this is over, we'll still be a family. A smaller family, but a stronger one. What he didn't tell them was that Brooke had sent each of them a text message that afternoon. Your father is having a breakdown. Don't believe anything he tells you. I'm coming home soon to explain everything. His children had shown him the messages before dinner, asking what they meant. They'd already made their choice about who to trust. And that gave Cole everything he needed to move to the next phase of his plan. Because the war was about to begin in earnest. Chapter 7. The Perfect Storm. 10 days after the surgery, Cole received a call that made him smile for the first time since reading Brooke's letter. Mr. Morrison, this is Travis Kellner. I think we need to talk. I imagine we do, Cole replied, leaning back in his office chair. What can I do for you, Mr. Kellner? I'm calling to discuss a reasonable settlement of our situation. Brooke and I are prepared to return a portion of the transferred assets in exchange for a clean break. No criminal charges, no lawsuits, no further harassment. Cole's smile widened. Harassment? I haven't done anything to you, Travis. You've been interfering with my business operations. Several of my clients have mysteriously canceled contracts. My bank has frozen certain accounts pending routine audits. And someone has been making inquiries about my family's company that have made some people very nervous. That doesn't sound like harassment. That sounds like due diligence. The truth was more complex. Cole had spent 10 days systematically using every connection he'd built over 20 years. A former Army buddy now worked for the IRS. A client whose house Cole had built was a federal judge. Another client ran the state banking commission. Cole hadn't asked anyone to do anything illegal. He'd simply shared information about his situation and let them draw their own conclusions about what required official scrutiny. Look, Morrison, I know you're angry, but this can be resolved professionally. Where's my wife, Travis? She's somewhere safe while we sort this out. That wasn't an answer. Cole heard Travis exhale slowly. She's with me. We're not in the country right now, but we can be back to finalize an agreement within 48 hours. Good, because I have a counterproposal for you. I'm listening. You and Brooke return every dollar you stole, plus 20% interest for my trouble. You sign statements admitting to financial fraud. You dissolve your partnership with Derek Walsh. And you stay away from my family forever. That's not going to happen. Then we'll do this the hard way. Cole's voice remained calm. Travis, do you know what a ranger's greatest strength is? What? Patience. We can wait weeks for the perfect shot. We can track an enemy for months before striking. And we never, ever give up. Are you threatening me? I'm educating you. Because you made a mistake, Travis. You assumed that because I built my business quietly and methodically, I was weak. You assumed that because I love my wife, I would be easy to destroy. You were wrong on both counts. Cole hung up the phone and immediately called Derek Walsh. It's time, Cole said when Derek answered. Are you in position? I'm at the office. Travis has been making calls all morning, trying to liquidate offshore assets. He's panicking. Good. Execute phase 2. Derek had been feeding Cole information for a week, and the picture was clear. Travis and Brooke were burning through money fast, living in expensive hotels and hiring lawyers to shield their assets. But they'd made a crucial error. They'd brought Derek with them to the Caymans, and Derek had access to all their financial systems. With Derek's help, Cole had been systematically calling in favors and applying pressure. Travis's family business was now under investigation by 3 different regulatory agencies. His offshore accounts were frozen pending money laundering inquiries. His business licenses in 2 states were under review. But the masterstroke was about to come. Vincent Torino is expecting a call from you in 1 hour, Cole told Derek. You're going to tell him that Travis Kellner guaranteed your gambling debt, and that Travis has been bragging about the $18 million he just acquired. You're going to suggest that Vincent might want to collect his money directly from Travis instead of from you. Jesus, Cole. Vincent's people don't mess around. Neither do I. Make the call, Derek, and then transfer yourself back to the mainland. Your part in this is almost finished. After ending the call, Cole opened his laptop and checked the hidden camera feeds he'd installed in Brooke's old office at their house. When she came back, he'd know immediately. Because Cole Morrison had been hunting the enemy for 10 days now, and he was finally ready to close the trap. Chapter 8. The Return. Brooke Morrison stood in the doorway of what had been her home for 15 years, her hands shaking as she turned the key. The house felt alien now, like a museum of a life she'd abandoned. But Travis had insisted they needed to retrieve certain documents before disappearing permanently. 5 minutes, Travis whispered behind her, scanning the empty driveway. Get the papers from the safe and let's go. What they didn't know was that Cole was watching from the office of his construction site 2 miles away, monitoring the camera feeds on his laptop. He'd been waiting for this moment for 3 days, ever since Derek reported that Vincent Torino's associates had made contact with Travis in Grand Cayman. Cole picked up his phone and dialed 911. This is Cole Morrison at 4847 Maple Ridge Road. I'm calling to report a break-in at my house. I can see the intruders on my security system, a man and woman possibly armed. They appear to be searching for valuables. He provided the address and hung up, then called Ray Hoffman. They're here, Cole said simply. You sure about this, brother? They broke into my house to steal documents. Everything after that is just self-defense. Cole drove home slowly, timing his arrival perfectly. As he pulled into his driveway, 2 police cars were already there, their lights flashing. Through the front window, he could see Brooke and Travis being questioned by officers. He walked into his own house as if he was surprised to find anyone there. Officers, what's happening? Cole asked, projecting confusion and concern. Mr. Morrison? We received a call about a break-in. These individuals claim to live here, but that's my wife, Cole said, pointing to Brooke. Well, my estranged wife. She moved out 2 weeks ago. He looked directly at Brooke, whose face had gone pale. I didn't know you were back in town, honey. Cole, we just came to get some personal items. Without calling, without asking permission, Cole turned to the officers. I changed the locks after she left. How did they get in? Travis stepped forward. Mr. Morrison, this is obviously a misunderstanding. I'm sorry, who are you? Cole asked, extending his hand with a smile. I don't believe we've been introduced. Travis Kellner. I'm Brooke's friend. Ah. Cole's smile turned cold. The boyfriend. The one who helped my wife steal $18 million from our family business. The officers immediately became more alert. Sir, can you explain what you mean by that? Cole pulled out copies of the financial documents Ray had prepared. My wife and Mr. Kellner have been engaged in systematic financial fraud for the past 10 months. There are active criminal investigations in 3 states and federal warrants for their arrest on money laundering charges. This was a slight exaggeration. The investigations were real, but the warrants didn't exist yet. But Cole was counting on Travis and Brooke not knowing that. That's not true, Brooke exclaimed. Cole, you're lying to them. Ma'am, please remain calm, one officer said. Sir, do you have documentation of these alleged crimes? Cole handed over a folder thick with financial records, email printouts, and Ray's preliminary investigation report. Everything's there. Bank transfers, forged documents, communications planning the theft. As the officers reviewed the documents, Cole watched Travis calculating options. The man was trapped and knew it. But Cole wasn't finished. There's something else, officers. I have reason to believe they're here to destroy evidence. My wife had access to a safe in our bedroom that contains business documents. I believe they're trying to eliminate evidence of their crimes. Is that true, ma'am? The officer asked Brooke. I was just trying to get my jewelry. The jewelry you stole when you abandoned your family? Cole interrupted. The jewelry that was purchased with money you later helped embezzle? Travis grabbed Brooke's arm. We don't have to listen to this. We haven't been charged with anything. Actually, Cole said, pulling out his phone, I believe Detective Hoffman has been looking for you. Cole had timed this perfectly. Ray walked through the front door exactly on cue. Travis Kellner and Brooke Morrison, you're under arrest for financial fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit theft. As Ray read them their rights, Brooke looked at Cole with something approaching hatred. You planned this. You knew we'd come back. I know you better than you know yourself. Brooke, I know you're impulsive when you're scared. And I know Travis is an amateur who makes mistakes when he's under pressure. This isn't over, Travis snarled as the handcuffs clicked into place. Cole's smile was genuinely warm. You're absolutely right, Travis. It's not over. It's just beginning. Chapter 9, The Reckoning. 6 months later, Cole Morrison sat in the courtroom as the judge read the sentences. Brooke received 4 years for financial fraud and conspiracy. Travis received 7 years for financial fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit murder. The emails about the plan's surgical complications had been discovered during the investigation. But the real justice had happened outside the courtroom. Travis's family business, Kellner and Associates, had collapsed under the weight of regulatory investigations. 3 generations of wealth gone in 6 months. Derek Walsh, who had cooperated fully with authorities, received probation and was rebuilding his life as a project manager for Morrison Developments. Vincent Torino had collected his debt from Travis personally, in a way that left the man requiring reconstructive surgery on his left hand. Cole hadn't ordered that to happen, but he hadn't shed any tears over it either. Now Cole stood on the construction site of his newest development, a luxury subdivision that would bear Emma's name. Morrison Developments had not only recovered from the theft, but had grown stronger. The notoriety of the case had actually brought Cole new clients who respected how he'd handled the betrayal. His phone rang. It was Emma, calling from Northwestern. Dad, I saw the news about the sentencing. How are you feeling? Like justice was served, Cole replied. How are you feeling? Relieved, I think. It's been hard, knowing Mom did those things. But I'm glad it's over. It's not quite over yet, sweetheart. What do you mean? Cole had received a letter from Brooke 2 weeks ago, written from prison. She'd begged for forgiveness, claimed she'd been manipulated by Travis, promised she'd changed. She wanted to see the children, wanted to rebuild their relationship when she was released. Your mother wants to see you and Tyler. She's written letters asking for visits. Emma was quiet for a moment. What do you think we should do? I think you should make your own choices about your relationship with your mother. But I want you to understand something. Forgiveness and trust are different things. You can forgive someone for hurting you without trusting them not to hurt you again. Are you going to forgive her? Cole looked out over the construction site, watching workers pour foundations for homes that would shelter families for generations. No, Emma, I'm not. Your mother didn't just cheat on me or steal money. She tried to have me killed. She used your activities as cover for her affair. She betrayed not just me, but both of you. Some things are unforgivable. Even if she's really sorry, being sorry doesn't undo the damage. Being sorry doesn't bring back the trust. And being sorry doesn't change the fact that she chose to destroy our family for money and attention. Cole had made his peace with being seen as unforgiving. He'd built his entire life on loyalty, on keeping his word, on protecting the people he loved. Brooke had shattered all of that, and some breaks couldn't be repaired. Tyler had already decided he wanted nothing to do with his mother. Emma was still conflicted, but Cole could see her resolve hardening as time passed. That evening, Cole sat in his study, looking through the financial reports Ray had compiled during the final investigation. The total recovery had been $22.3 million, more than had been stolen, thanks to assets seized from Travis's family business and penalties imposed by the courts. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. The children need their mother. This vendetta of yours is hurting them. When I get out, I'm going to fight for custody. They deserve better than a father consumed by hatred. Cole smiled and typed back, "Good luck with that, Brooke. I'll be sure to show the judge the emails where you plan to murder me." He blocked the number and deleted the conversation. Cole Morrison had spent 6 months systematically destroying everyone who had betrayed him. His wife was in prison. Her lover was in prison and financially ruined. His family business was stronger than ever. His children understood exactly who their mother really was. The war was over, and Cole had won completely. But more importantly, Tyler and Emma had both decided to transfer to state schools closer to home. They wanted to be near their father, wanted to help rebuild the family business, wanted to be part of something strong and permanent. Cole poured himself a whiskey and walked out onto his back deck. The oak trees he'd planted 20 years ago swayed in the evening breeze, their roots deep and strong. Some people might call him ruthless. Some might say he'd been too harsh, too unforgiving. But Cole Morrison had learned long ago that mercy was a luxury you couldn't afford when people tried to destroy everything you'd built. He protected his family, secured his children's futures, and eliminated every threat to their security. And if that made him the villain in someone else's story, Cole Morrison could live with that. Because in his own story, the only one that mattered, he was exactly who he'd always been, a man who protected what was his, who kept his word, and who never, ever forgot a betrayal. The foundation was solid. The family was safe. And Cole Morrison was home. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end.